What's up YouTube, it's Razor. So we're going to be using some anti-heal here in Devpro. Deck known as anti-heal. Or nurse burn, whatever you want to call it. Or whatever you prefer to call it, I mean. It essentially involves giving your opponent a bunch of life points and then reversing the amount. So in this case, using gift card, giving them 3,000 but reversing that, making them take 3,000. With bad reaction to Simochi and Nurse Kill the Fallen One. This is an older deck. I believe it came out around in GX generation. So it's a really old deck. But it's still effective nowadays. Especially there's a new card in the deck now, known as Try and Guess. Try and Guess, and I believe the other name for it is... I can't remember what the other name for it is, but it has two names. One of them's the OCG name, and one's the TCG name. I think the TCG name is Try and Guess. And I believe the OCG name is 1 out of 3. Yeah, 1 out of 3 is the other name for it. There it is right there. It's basically like a gift card as well. So basically this deck has access to 2 gift cards now, with that new card that they added. Alright, so at this point it's game right now. I got game right here. And I'll be showing about 5 or 6 duels, just so you know. And after this, I'll do the deck profile for this deck. Yeah, here's 1 out of 3, or Try and Guess, whatever you want to call it. To use that 1 out of 3 or Try and Guess, whatever you want to call it, you have to have 1 card in your extra deck. Both players have to have an extra deck. You cannot use it if your opponent has no extra deck. But more than likely you'll be able to use it because 9 times out of 10 your opponent's going to have an extra deck. And you want to make sure they have more of the particular type in their extra deck. So I make a mistake later in this store right here, you'll see. Basically later in the store I use 1 out of 3. I call XYZ because I'm an idiot. I'm going against someone who's using Yang Zines, yet I call XYZ. If I'd have called Synchro, he would have lost 3,000 life points there. Instead I called XYZ. So that was my fault. Alright, so he's going to lose here since I used gift card right here. Won that duel. You're more than likely not going to be able to beat Light Swarms or Shadows with this deck, though. More than likely, Light Swarms and Shadows will end you before you get a chance to end them. But you might open up real good and beat Shadows and Light Swarms, depending. It all depends on how you open up. But this deck's still pretty consistent. And even more consistent now with that new card. So it gives me Volcanic Queen. I don't know why he gave me Volcanic Queen. Volcanic Queen just helps me burn him down. So he made a big mistake there. So at this point, I'm not even going to attack. Well, I can't anyway because Wabaku, but I'm just gonna burn him down now. It was his mistake for giving me Volcanic Queen. Alright, now this duel right here is pretty long. I made some mistakes in this duel. This is the final duel I'll show you, and after this I'll do the deck profile for this deck. But yeah, if you're looking for a consistent burn deck, this is the way to go. This is probably one of the best burn decks in the game. Actually, I believe it is the most effective way to burn your opponent. I don't think there is any other better ways. Especially since that new card came out. I won this duel right here, and I made a lot of mistakes in this duel. I think I made about 3 or 4 mistakes in this duel. But I still end up winning. Yeah, with that field spell, that Ghost Trick field spell, he takes half the effect damage and battle damage. I got a bunch of duels using Yugioh OTK recorded and all that, so probably either next week sometime I'll upload it. I'll try to upload more consistent Yugioh videos if I can, or upload Yugioh videos more consistently. Alright, so there's that new Ghost Trick card. I should hit the field spell there of MST. I don't know why I hit that face down trap. I should have hit the field spell. So yeah, like I said earlier, I made a lot of mistakes. I'm lucky to have won this duel. Because usually when you make mistakes in Yu-Gi-Oh, you end up losing. Alright, so essentially the duel's over now. Alright, so yeah, he's fixing to attack, and then I'm going to use Dimension Wall and end the duel. So I showed about 6 duels using this deck, so it's pretty good. Pretty good deck, pretty consistent burn deck. So I'm going to do the deck profile for this deck. And I'll be right back. Alright, now here's the deck profile for that deck I just used. This is my variant of the Nurse Burn. You can add whatever cards you want to this deck really, but this is how I prefer to use the deck. So I run 3 Mystic Tomatoes, 3 Nurses obviously, 3 Card Ds, 1 Maxi, 3 Upstart, and you wanna, when you use Upstart, you wanna have either the Nurse on the field or Bad Reaction to Simochi on the field first before you use Upstart. That way you can inflict 1,000 points of damage and draw a card. Into the Void, because you're pretty much gonna be setting a lot of your cards or using a lot of your cards, so Into the Void ain't really gonna hurt you any. So that'll be very nice for this deck. 3 Power Dualities, obviously. 3 Shard of Greeds. Now this card, a little bit too slow for my taste. So I don't know if I really want it in here or not. I put it in for the draw power, but I'm just not sure about it. It doesn't really help all that much. I'm not sure what to add to this deck though. I'll probably end up adding 3 Messengers of Peace in here. And take out the Shards of Greed. Yeah, I'll probably do that now. Or I'll do it later. 3 gift cards. Obviously, to put 3,000 points of damage to your opponent if you have Nurse. Or battery action on the field. Magic Cylinder, because a lot of monsters that your opponent summons are going to be high attack power, so you better get some good burn damage off it. Dimension Wall. Again, just like Magic Cylinder. They take all the battle damage from the battle. 1 out of 3, or try and guess, whatever you want to call it. Basically what this card does is like a gift card, basically. Because most of your opponents are going to have an extra deck. So basically what this card does, if each player has an extra deck, so you got to have 1. So I have this card in my extra deck right here. Just so I have 1 card in my extra deck. And then declare 1 extra deck monster card type. Fusion, Synchrono, or XYZ. Normally I pick XYZ, but you can also pick Synchrono or Synchro or Fusion depending on who you're dueling. If you're dueling against Shadows, pick Fusion. If you're dueling against Yang Zing, pick Synchrono or pick Synchro. Don't be an idiot like me in that one duel. I picked XYZ against Yang Zing. That's stupid. If I'd have picked Synchro, I would have been able to inflict the 3,000. But I picked XYZ like an idiot. If you're doing against Plant Synchro, you pick Synchro, obviously. And if you're doing against someone who's using a lot of level 4s or a lot of level 8s or whatever, then you more than likely want to pick XYZ. 3 battery action, the same thing as Nurse. But be careful. Let's say you use the battery action and then use gift card. And then MST your battery action, you're actually going to gain 3,000. So sometimes it's best to put, let's see, Mystical Space Typhoon in here. To maybe hit an MST or whatever. Just to make sure they don't have MST before you use your cards. Because they're pretty much going to wait until you use the gift card to use MST. So, just go ahead and MST first, and then make sure they don't have one. 3 Skull Zomas, or Zoma the Spirit. Basically, when this card gets destroyed, your opponent loses life points equal to the attack of the monsters that destroyed it. So again, it's basically like Magic Cylinder and Dimension Wall as well. And here's some other cards you can put in this deck as well. You can put Lava Golem in here, Volcanic Queen, Burning Algae. When this card's hit to the graveyard, your opponent gains 1,000. But if you have Nurse Burn or Battery Action, they lose 1,000. Giant Germs, another good card you could add in here. But if you do add this card, I recommend putting 3 of them in here. Reign of Mercy. Swords of Revealing Light. The Pass of Destiny. And then of course Shard of Greed and MST as well. You could also put Prohibition in here. Prohibition and call MST. And that way you don't have to worry about Mystical Space Typhoon. Just put 3 of them in here. Call Mystical Space Typhoon. And then you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about Mystical Space Typhoon anymore. But really, this deck is entirely up to you. This is how I like to play it, though. Except I want to take out those 3 shards of greed for 3 messengers of pieces. So yeah, that's how I like to use my. That's how I like to make my nurse burn or anti-heal, whatever you want to call it. But feel free to use whatever you want. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, and thank you guys for watching. This has been Nurse Burn or Anti-Heal, whatever you want to call it. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to check out my other guides and videos on my channel. Please subscribe. Later.